So it is one of the world's first, I got it, the recording is in progress. So it's one of the world's first internship-based university, virtual university, building a better and brighter future for all young learners, and is committed to provide quality, accessible, affordable, skill-based, and location-independent education to learners all across the world. Isn't that wonderful? IAU is providing access to more than 1,000 plus courses and internships to the e-learners across the globe. So today we have a global team with us, teachers, educators, academicians from all over the globe. And with the team, it has a team of high caliber and experienced global educators. IIU has been accredited, by the way, and affiliated with the World Education Organization, that is the WEO, an international accreditation organization. And of course, it has collaborated with the world's top universities and education institutions through MOOC. So IIU provides various certificates and diploma courses. There is always that one person who's behind the vision. As they say, behind every successful woman, there's a man. So behind every successful, behind this International Internship University, the credit goes to none other than Mr. Piyush Pandit. This is the brainchild of him, especially in an era where online hybrid MOOC is the order of the day. So he came up with the idea of the world's first virtual internship university. So kudos to him, accolades to him, and thank you very much for setting up such a beautiful, wonderful platform where educators like me and Corina and Dr. Deepthi and Masuda, and these are just a handful of them that I know, but all over the world come together to learn, grow, and unlearn and grow again. So hi everyone, I'm Manjeet Lega, an educator, an academician, a teacher, a trainer, a coach, a lot of things, a mother rolled into one, but largely, a passionate educator. Children make my world go round. Teachers make my heartbeat go faster. Schools make me, give me the rush of dopamine. So I have lived on school and children and teachers ever since I can remember. So here I am, and today we're going to be doing a session on one of our favorite topics, which is bringing classrooms alive. And since all of you are watching me live on FB, and I'm going to, watch you guys and your responses on the phone to keep me going, to give me energy. So despite the medium being a little passive, I think we're going to make it very, very active. We're going to have a lot of inputs from you. So fastest finger first. Be active. Please type out your thoughts, queries, meanings, whatever you feel like. And let's make it an evening to remember, an evening where we learned and grew, right? So, okay, let me just get the energy going. All right, so let's play a game, a game where if you find affinity, if you find similarity between what I say, so just type me too, all right? Just type me too. For example, if I say I have black hair. So if you have black hair, come on, you can type me too. And I'm going to just log in and go on to FB and see all your responses over there as well. So I said, I have long hair. Yeah, I am not able to catch it right now. Okay, so you can type me too. All right. Okay, the next one. I have two eyes. So all of you who have two eyes can type me too. And if you don't have two eyes, you can just forget. I mean, you don't need to type anything. All right. I wear glasses. If it's a me too, please type me too. The next one, listen carefully. I have a short temper. I have a short temper. Is that getting a me too? Is that getting a me too? Yeah. Okay. So that's great. All right. Moving on. let's come to our topic, which is about bringing classrooms alive. Okay. I hope you can see my screen. So this was a topic for the day, bringing classrooms alive. And before we delve further into, why should we talk about bringing classrooms alive? I mean, isn't it understood that if it's a classroom, it has to be alive, it has to be kicking, it has to be full of energy? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to talk about it in the same breath as we talk about why we should eat healthy, why we should stay hydrated, why we should have values in life, why we should have morals in life. We all know that, isn't it? We all know that we should live healthy, we should eat healthy, we should breathe healthy. But time and again, we go back, we check some literature, we check some AVs, we check some talks, and so as we can re-energize, refocus ourselves. Likewise, we are talking about classrooms being energy zones so that we can kind of, refocus, re-energize, and go back to our classrooms with renewed vigor, josh, and energy. So how's the Josh? How's the Josh as we begin the session? Please give me your response. Is it high? Is it medium? Is it low? Come on. I want to see everyone typing in their response, however many people are there. Even if there are 10 teachers, 10 educators watching, doesn't matter. It's 10 of us and a beautiful classroom. Yeah. So how's the Josh? Okay. I hope it's high, and I'm going to make sure it remains high. So before I move further, I'm going to ask you a question that what are classrooms actually? So you can type out your responses as well. What are classrooms? So classrooms typically are perceived as a brick and wall room with some chart and a notice board and a blackboard or a smart board or a whiteboard, where there is teacher, there is taught. But all of you know that classrooms have evolved. Classrooms have evolved, right? So we term classrooms as learning spaces. So earlier, go back to the Gurukul days. Those of you who are from India know very well that our ancient system of education was the Gurukul, where the Guru would sit under the tree and teach the children, right? So that was a classroom. Right? So classrooms are everywhere, from a kindergarten to a middle school to a high school to even universities, right? All of them have classrooms. So thus classrooms are spaces where learning can take place, and preferably unhindered, less distraction, or rather no distraction. That's why we have a sacred, sacrosanct place where learning takes place between the learner, the facilitator, the students, the teacher, or the guide, whatever we may term to call, or the shikshak as we call in India, and happening uninterrupted from outside influences. So that is what we call a classroom. All right. So having learned that, let me move on to the next slide. Yeah. So this, yeah. So we say that classrooms are learning environments. So underline the word learning. So how do you ensure that learning takes place? So though I have put down a few key points over here, a large part of my interaction with you is going to be very, very instinctive, very conversational, very case study like. I'm going to talk about instances, how we do it in our classrooms, etc. So I'm going to talk experiential. I'm going to talk about, my experiences, and perhaps, want you to share your experiences as well. So how do we make sure that classrooms are learning places? As I said, they need to be learning environment, right? So first and foremost, have a sense of order and routine. Now, if I were to ask you, is this space, you and me and a screen, a classroom? Yes, it is. Why? Because there is some kind of learning taking place. So Because we want learning to take place, we need some order and routine. For instance, so that we mute everybody, so that, everyone can listen in to the teacher. That could be one order. A routine, there is a time, 7 o'clock we log in, and there is a fixed time for the session, so that people have their routines and they know this is the time of the session, right? So there is a sense of order and routine. Now, to those who say that let children do what they want to, no. Inwardly, all children, all students look for routines, right? It's a different matter what your classroom environment be like. It can be mixed seating, it can be, floor seating, it can be sitting under a tree, wherever, but there has to be an order and there has to be a routine. Okay. And then how can you ensure learning takes place? Safety, take care of safety, so that there is no bullying each other, right? There is no ragging. If I don't like someone's face, I can't hit them. If I want to sit in the front, I can't pull the chair away from the child and say get lost, right? So you have to take care of everybody's safety. And in modern day, of course, you need to have the CCTV cameras and all the other safety mandates. But that is more from the management perspective. From a teacher's perspective, you have to make sure, I have to make sure that all my students feel safe. Remember, children dare to learn when they feel safe. Children dare to learn when they feel safe. When they don't feel safe, when they feel threatened, the hippocampus shuts down. No learning. Okay. Respect each other. There must be respect for each other. I may be tall, I may be short, I may be healthy, I may be skinny, I may be a Gujarati or a Punjabi or a African or, whatever nationality, culture, religion. There has to be respect for each other, right? I may be a nerd at maths. I may be very good at poetry. I may be excellent at language, right? There has to be respect for each other, right? So make sure that it is a teacher's job to ensure that there are rules, there is order, there is routine, there is respect for each other. And the next point, conflict resolution. You see, whenever there is a class of learners, so many minds alive, ticking, full of energy mind, there is bound to be conflict. Children are bound to disagree with each other. So the teacher must have conflict resolution strategy. For instance, if it is junior kids, primary, pre-primary, the teacher must know that if two children are fighting for the same toy, for the same teaching aid, what to do, how to resolve the conflict. Okay. In primary, if two children want to sit at the same desk every day, how to resolve the conflict, right? A middle school, children don't want to study Shakespeare today, or they don't want to do triangles and geometry today. How to resolve the conflict and reach at a consensus. Class 11 and 12, rarely do they want to stay within the classroom. They want to learn in open environments. They want to go to the veranda. They want to do drums, they want to do Western music, or they want to do extempore. Conflict resolution. How does the teacher bring them in all together? Okay. And then have high expectations. It cannot be a learning environment unless and until you have high expectations from your learners. The teacher has to set it out, whether it's in a lesson plan, or you put it on a blackboard, or you speak it out, or your body language conveys it. Today, we're all going to study about fractions. It is said, fractions, we will all learn and end up knowing about fractions at the end of this period. Okay. Today, we are all going to study about, the French architecture. Or today, we are only going to be doing about colors, the color pink, right? Set high standards, right? Set standards. Make your class interactive. Of course, that is the thumb rule. Every class has to be interactive. A passive experience is not a great learning experience. An active learning experience is what makes the class more productive, full of energy, safe, long-lasting, memory, retention, huge benefits, right? Children always remember teachers who made them, who made them speak up, who made them interact. who did not put a zip on their mouth, right? So encourage children. As I always say, sometimes with junior kids, instead of telling them, okay, tell me, have you understood can you recognize the color red, right? Instead, you should say, show me the color red, right? So have you understood addition? Instead, say, show me this row has 7 desks, this row has 7 desks. So show me how many desks total, right? So instead of saying, tell me, tell the children, show me. Okay, if they've done some idioms and phrases in middle school, then instead of saying that, all right, quick as lightning, that is a new expression that you learned, right? Quick as lightning, show me, show me. What is quick as lightning? Is this quick as lightning, right? Or was this quick as lightning, right? So instead of saying, tell me, you ask them, show me. And the last point in this slide says, know your children. Now make learning a personalized affair. Now making learning a personalized affair is a topic by itself, right? It can be covered over a number of hours. But to put it in a nutshell, it simply means that for learning to be a personalized affair, you must be data driven, right? So you must know your children. So once you know your children, once you are data driven, so that is how your instructions are targeted. So if you know you're data driven, you know that your class doesn't like doing maths in the morning, you're data driven. So you know your instruction will be focused that way. Either you will bring up the energy or you will shift the maths period to second or third, right? So your kindergartners, they have a habit of coming late to school, right? How do you know that? Data driven. So your targeted instructions, you will make the first part of the day so interesting, so alive that children will want to come there, right? So your strategies are driven by data, all right? Student reflection and ownership also. Children reflect a lot, on what we've done. For example, that's why we display the work in kindergarten classrooms. Why do we say that don't draw those animals and those dinosaurs with inside the classroom, so that children can see their own work and reflect upon it, that this is what Anahita drew the giraffe like. So everyone knows that a child drawing a giraffe can look like that, whereas a real giraffe is whoops, right? Reflection. So why don't we show? Often I see schools shying away when we are preparing for the next annual day or sports day, and we all make those beautiful CDs, right? And videos out of it. We should get the whole school together and put it up for them. Okay, you want to see the last year's annual day? Our theme was so and so, and the costumes were designed by so and so. And do you know what class nursery did? What class 4B did? What class 7th did? Right? Show it to them. Children will laugh, children will roll over, but there'll be an element of respect, of awe. Oh my God, can I do it like that? Can I be like that? Right? And then the teachers will also be looking at it with a very discerning eye, that this is what we did last year. Our standards have only to go up, right? We have to take the theme up, we have to take the costumes up, we have to take, reflections. That is the whole purpose of reflection. Let the children review and give their feedback about their work as well, and then you jointly review. So this is how you make your classrooms a learning environment. Come on, everybody, please type out the word learning environment. As I take a sip of my tea, I want all of you to type down the word learning environment, and I move on to the next criteria, which says that yes, classrooms are learning environment, but they should be positive learning environment. Now, there is a purpose behind why I have put the word positive. What is that purpose? How do you ensure the positivity? See, it's a known fact whether today, if I say that this is a learning environment, right? You are going to end up learning 1.0 one strategy, one new thing, right? And whether it may be good, it may be bad, whatever, you will end up learning. You may end up learning a new word, right? So whether I pronounce it right, whether I pronounce it with a degree of love, whether I pronounce it with a degree of rhythm, and whether it stays over there is dependent on me, isn't it? So children are going to learn in any case. So why not make it positive? That's my point. The children are going to end up learning any which ways. So why not make it positive? Why not be a role model? Right? Be a role model for your children, your body language, your expression, your tonality, everything should be positive, right? Scowl should be for a purpose. Okay, maybe you use it for emotional literacy, for teaching your children about emotional literacy. But your smile, you know what they say? If you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. That is the biggest positivity factor. Even if you're having a bad day, your children are having a bad day, give a smile and you start off at the right foot. If a teacher tells the children, we're going to be doing a tough chapter today. We are going to be doing, guess what? Trigonometry. La 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 la. Oh, they know they have to do trigonometry. They have to learn. But your tonality, your role modeling makes it, more acceptable to the child, to the neurons. The neurons also perk up. They also say, Acha, now I have to do it. So might as well let me pay attention. Let me learn what she's saying. So be a role model, right? Reinforce and reward positive behavior, which means focus on desirable. Okay, the child being a nuisance. Some children have this habit. No, they'll keep poking in between. Ma'am is trying to teach, they will just ask meaningless questions, especially to new teachers, or there may be some ragging happening over there at the end of the class, right? So a good strategy is to keep your class positively inclined. Just ignore the negative behavior. And what happens with what you ignore? It doesn't multiply. What you ignore doesn't multiply. What you pay attention to multiplies. So you paying attention to the positive behavior of the child, that will multiply. One child will see positivity being appreciated, and he or she is bound to role model it to the other. All right. If you're appreciating neat handwriting, don't 10 children call you out and say, ma'am, see mine, ma'am, see mine, ma'am, see, I've done this, right? If you set timelines for a project, right? And children who finish it within that project, and they all want you to come, ma'am, have a look. Okay. So reinforce and reward positive behaviors, right? Normalize mistakes. All right. Normalize mistakes, meaning don't make such a hullabaloo out of it. If somebody has made a mistake, just brush it aside. Just brush it aside as part of a learning journey. I always tell my teachers in kindergarten, like if there's a child whose nose is, it's cold, running nose, right? So instead of saying, chi, 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 oh my God, you don't know how to wipe your nose, you just go around, take a tissue, carry on singing your rhyme or story, whatever you're doing, wipe the nose with the tissue and just throw it away. That's it. The child learns that it's normal, yeah, to have a running nose. All right. And if children, if sitting with their book placed very awkwardly, they have this habit of making those mountains out of the books on their desk, just to gain attention. You're telling them that, all right, solve the problem on page 52. We are all going to be solving that. They'll make a tent out of that book and put their head in over there. All you have to do is, instead of throwing a chalk or saying that you are never listening to me, you never pay attention, just go put the book right way down and say, la, 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 the tent is dismantled. Time for you now to solve the problem. Okay. So you created a classroom game also after that. A lot of classroom games you can create, right? For that, I don't think I have to tell you, because these days all of you do activity-based learning, experiential, PBL, so there are a lot of games over there which are already inculcated in your curriculum. So give your student choices. Now that's a tough one, huh? So because given a choice, no child is going to come and say, we want to study, right? They say, okay, ma'am, let's go out and play. Let's play basketball today. Let's play tag today. Let us go to the slides today, depending on the age of the children. Let's go to the canteen. 11th and 12th always wants to go to the canteen only, nowhere else. The junior kids want to go to the swings and the slides, right? So give your student choices. Be intelligent, be the guide, be the teacher. Say, all right, you want to go to the swing. Okay, so do you want to go to the swing, after you finish your work in 20 minutes? You get 10 minutes of swing time. If you finish your work in 25 minutes, you only get 5 minutes of swing time. Okay, so that is the way you turn the game around and give them choices. Well, they feel empowered, they feel they have a voice, they have a choice, but actually it is you who's driving them towards the learning goals, isn't it? Celebrate all efforts. There are millions of ways of celebrating. Teachers have birthday chairs in their classrooms, in their schools, right? You have an appreciation board sometimes over there. Many schools have talking corners where in the recess, the one child is appreciating the other child, speaking about 5 nice things which they heard in school today, right? So there are so many ways of appreciating efforts. Then there is you can give them certificates, you can give them honorary mentions, you can make them the blackboard topper of the day. That means the name is going to be written on the top of the blackboard for that day. Okay, or the first one to exit the class at dispersal time. That's a reward. They feel very honored, they feel wow, they feel very kicked about it, that I'm going to be the first one to kick out out of the class. All right, positive parent calls. Occasionally I put it over there. Don't make too many calls, because there is a huge theory, and I believe in it, that praise cripples children, right? So praise, but at the right pace and at the right time when it is needed. I would say, instead of praise, reward positive behavior, reward desirable behavior, what you want. But it's good to give an occasional call. I remember one school, we used to do this call. We used to call up the grandmother, right? So randomly the teacher decided, oh my God, this one has done a beautiful piece of creative writing, or this one has said a beautiful rhyme or a beautiful story, and katak, out of the blue, a call was made to the grandparent. Who? Which? My grandparent? This is my grandparent you're talking to? And the child's day was made, and the teacher would say that, here, you want me to read out the poem she's written, or you want her to read out the story she's just read in the class? That's a fantastic one, right? So innovate that way and do these kind of positive parent calls a little differently over there. Set examples so that it gets aspirational for the other children as well. So we said that make classrooms learning environment. And then secondly, we said, please write down the word positive learning environments. What kind of environment? Positive learning environment. Then how can you make your classrooms alive? Is bringing the world into the classroom. Remember when you and I were brought up? So if our teacher wanted to show us the oyster egg, she had no choice but to hunt around a picture of the oyster egg from the library and show us that. Well, the teacher does that now also, but she has another magical wand in her hand, which is called technology, right? She can just bring in technology inside the classroom and show them an oyster egg, an oyster farm. She can take them to the world of flamingos, she can take them to the world of migratory birds, whatever, you name it. So teachers, whether you're teaching pre-K or middle school or high school, wherever, technology is here to stay. So it's good to make wise use of technology and use it to bring the world into your classroom, not to take the children out of your classroom. So use it very judiciously. All right. Then the fourth one point which we are discussing is making classrooms active learning spaces. Active learning spaces. Now, why do I say active learning spaces? Because active is the opposite of passive. And remember in the beginning what I said, that passive means the hippocampus shuts down, no learning happens. So how do we ensure that our classrooms are active learning spaces? All right. So the number one point is bring mindfulness into the classroom. What do we mean by mindfulness? We're doing a lot of this mindfulness, heartfulness, happiness curriculum inside the classroom. Well, in a nutshell, it simply means being in the present. Children, teachers, adults, educators, all of us are more worried about what happened yesterday and what's going to happen tomorrow. I haven't finished my lesson plan for tomorrow. I haven't done my homework of the previous day. So we are always, toggling between yesterday and tomorrow and yesterday and tomorrow. As a result, we miss out the beautiful today. So a lot of mindfulness practices are there, such as yoga. It's a huge, wonderful mindfulness practice. Another good mindfulness practice is, I had jotted down also for you guys, yes, listening to audios, right? Listening to podcasts is a beautiful mindfulness practice, which you can do it with your children. Another one is simply, mindful snack eating. That's very, very popular in some of the schools. So the teacher will see that the children are distracted and all that. So we will all do a mindful snack eating. Whatever snack they're going to eat, they're going to just feel it, taste it, smell it, and eat it. And the teacher can lead the way, or one of the children can lead the way. So listening to podcasts, sensory walk, that's a very common practice also. Take your children quiet. Let's go through the classroom and let's take a sensory walk, which means you will notice those things which you can observe through your senses. What do you see? Can you hear any noise? Can you smell anything? What does this chart touch and feel like? Okay, so that's a sensory walk over there. We can also do gratitude practice, which is also mindfulness, gratitude. Okay, so as you walk around, just think 2 things that you're grateful for. Right now, I'm grateful for my cup of tea. And I'm grateful to IIU for bringing us all together and giving us another platform to brainstorm and learn. So right now, what am I doing? I'm being mindful. I'm trying to live in the present. Okay. So encourage a lot of public speaking. Do a lot of public speaking, because that makes the learning space very, very active. When children speak, but speak meaning, just as we say, don't let the children just run here and there, purposeful movement. So also purposeful speaking. Give them a topic, right? Give them a word. Give them a trigger. Give them a trigger. It's always good. Okay, so today, for example, Delhi touched 49 degrees. Can you imagine? Tell me 5 things that could happen at 49 degrees Celsius. That is the topic, right? You can talk about that. Did you hear NATO, NATO? What is the full form? Why is it in news, right? Did you hear about it, right? For the younger children, summer holidays, summer camp. What would you like to do at the summer camp? Give them an opportunity for that. Okay. So encourage children to express their ideas through writing is a very, very good practice, especially for primary and middle school. Really good one. Give a lot of feedback. Reflections I've already done with you, that we must do a lot of reflection. Let them reflect on what, you show them what they see, their work. You can also compare that data driven, what I said earlier, that guys, section 2B did fantastic in maths, right? So do you think there's any reason behind it? But 2C did better than us in English. Do you think there's any reason behind it? So then one of them, I remember one child getting up and saying that, ma'am, because they have a Manjeet in their class, you know? So, wow. I mean, that's insightful. So that tells you what children are thinking, that they're also observing each other, isn't it? They're also listening to stories about other class, right? They're also listening to stories about other children and performers and performances, all right? Relate your lessons to students' real life situation. All right. So today we are going to be talking about that city where Rohan always dreams of going. You guessed it right. It's Paris. Okay. Today we are going to be talking about fruits, and that fruit which is Anahita's favorite. Can you guess? Mango. Yes, M for mango. And here's a mango rhyme and here's a mango story. So link it to the child, link it to the student's real life situation. What is, then children get more of ownership, belonging. They feel that, oh, safe. They feel safe. They feel loved. They belong. All right. So these are the things, some of the tips which you can use to make learning active. All right. And classrooms have to be a fun learning space. I've already talked about, a body language should be positive, right? And there should be variety and creativity in the class and have a sense of humor. What? Very few teachers get into the habit of starting the class with a joke or ending the class with a joke or cracking a joke in the middle of a serious lesson. But why? Why should we do that? With children, why can't you crack a joke whenever you want to? So here's this one. So why did the why did the two fours, four, skip dinner? Because they already ate the figure of 8. Okay, another one. So why do you think that the sports stadium is a very, very cool place to be in? Why do you think a sports stadium is a very, very cool place to be in? Because it has so many fans. Okay, why don't you ever tickle an egg? Why don't you tickle an egg and make it laugh? Because it will crack up. So have a sense of humor. Children love these jokes, right? They'll go giggling. They'll come and tell you also their jokes about Hathi and Cheetie, the elephant and the ant, and the whole class. And then you have a tough time, in fact, controlling them. That all write a joke at the end of the class. Let's get back to work. What were we doing? And everybody's all attention because there's anticipation of pleasure, because there is creativity, there's humor, there's variety, right? Children are moving, there is purposeful movement, there is directed speech. Children are encouraged to speak but given a trigger, and there is humor. What more can a child ask for? Why won't learning take place? Why won't your classroom be an active, happy place? Okay, and remember that the teacher is also a learner. I love this one. That why must we expect only our children to come and prepared with so and so and be learning everything new? Why can't the teacher? We always say that the teacher is a learner. So how many times do you share your learnings? What did you learn? And did you go back and share it with your class? For example, if it's a kindergartner, right? So maybe you're doing community helpers and you just talk about a community helper, a new one that you met. Okay, I met, any new one. You can say, I met a chowkidar, I met a security guard. So, and you know what he was doing? And you know what he did over there? And you know what I learned from him? right? That how hardworking is he, right? So go up a little. So with your children, they'll be reading all about the war, all about the war. So talk about it, that why doesn't war solve things? I learned about that. I learned about why is Russia behaving in such a manner, right? Go for both sides of the coin. I learned about the full form of NATO. Did you know, children, that I learned about it in yesterday that there are some cities where people are crazy about cycling and it brings the global warming down? Definitely. Which are those cities? I didn't know that Netherlands tops the chart. Everyone cycles to work, cycles to play, cycles to school. Did you know about that? Did you know about Amsterdam? I learned about that yesterday. So I learned about it. I didn't know about this. Did you know about it? So it makes you more acceptable. It makes you more real. And children these days are always questioning you. Why do we only have to learn all the time? Remember that joke which is often there on the internet and say that if all teachers cannot learn all subjects, cannot teach all subjects, if all teachers cannot teach all subjects, why must all children be learning all subjects, right? So that's a different issue altogether. But children do watch you, children observe you. So it's good to come and share your learning with your children, what you learned. It motivates them, it inspires them to be a better learner. So these were some of the ideas that I thought I'm going to stop sharing, and maybe some of you would like to share your ideas about, how do you bring your classrooms alive? How do you bring your, bring more energy within your classrooms? How do you bring positivity within your classrooms? And how do you create learning hubs within the classroom? If there's someone from the IIU over here, if you can help me with some of the remarks being there on the Facebook, and if there are any questions, I can take them. Otherwise, I will wait for the inputs. And teachers, I hope all of you educators, teachers, academicians, all of you who've joined us today, it was a wonderful experience, interacting with all of you. I can speak on and ever about, schools and education and children and policies and strategies and techniques and assessments and so on. It's an unending topic, but, the sacrosanct place, the sacred place, the sacrosanct place where the entire learning takes place, where the learner and the facilitator meet, is the classroom. So make sure that your classrooms are kept alive, humming with energy, humming with positivity, radiant with your smile. Because every classroom is a reflection of the teacher's personality. Remember that. Every classroom is a reflection of the teacher's personality, whether it is a kindergarten classroom, a primary school classroom, a college classroom, or a university classroom. The energy, the vibes, which the teacher emanates are multiplied. Remember what I said? That whatever you pay attention to multiplies. So if you pay attention to having a vibrant class, you will end up having a vibrant, energetic class. Then the teaching of the subject, the content, the concept, the, whatever you want to do with your children becomes much more easier and happier. So wishing you all a happy, wonderful Tuesday evening. You can mail me at my ID in case of any questions, or you can put up your questions on the Facebook link that you have of IIU. I'll be happy to answer if any of the questions have gone unanswered. Look forward to meeting you all again very, very soon. Stay happy, stay blessed, stay smiling, and have a happy Tuesday evening with your families. Goodbye and take care.